This is Idiot with a Library Card, a podcast about books and libraries and such things like that. I'm Bennett. This is going to be a short show because I'm going to do a series of shows on the Sherlock Holmes stories. I'll probably break it down by books, the novels, and then some of the short story books. I just read the introduction. I bought this great, full, complete Sherlock stories book from Amazon. It looks really great. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to dive in. I'm going to talk a lot about adaptations. There's been a lot of adaptations for Sherlock. It lends itself to good television. The short stories probably break down to a full hour television show. The novels aren't that long either, so they break down to a good-sized television show. I would say my favorite adaptation is the newer one, the Sherlock show, which is set in modern day. I think Benjamin Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman are great together, and it really works. The first 2 to 3 seasons, it's one of those shows that degrades over time. The first 2 seasons, though, are just terrific. It's great television. I know in Britain, it's like an event when they come on. They may make more. I'm not sure if I'd like them to make more. The last few seasons have gotten ridiculous, which Sherlock tends to get a little ridiculous, and it's kind of fun. I'll just say with that show, their mistake was killing off Moriarty. The person who played Moriarty, and I'm not sure of his name offhand, is a really talented actor, and he was perfect for the role. And he made the show really interesting. So I just read a little bit about Arthur Conan Doyle in the introduction. He's an interesting guy. He was actually studying to be a doctor, and Sherlock, the character, is based on a doctor he used to intern for. He was really good at when people would come in, he could guess what they did for a job and where they were and all that. The introduction of Watson to Sherlock is based on one of the first times that Arthur Conan Doyle saw this doctor do this, in that he knew by looking at the guy that he had recently left the military and where he was stationed and what he did in the military, just based on how he looked in his clothes and all that. Sort of the art of deduction, which Sherlock Holmes is obviously famous for. And it's a really interesting story. And I like Arthur Conan Doyle. I like authors that generally don't start out writing books. They try their hand at something else and then decide they like writing and get money. Like he gets paid and is real excited about it, and then he decides, okay, I guess I've made enough money, I can be a writer. The Study in Scarlet, which is the first Sherlock Holmes book, didn't make him much money, but then he subsequently made a lot of money. He had an odd relationship with his main character. It's interesting. A lot of people claim that he hated Sherlock Holmes. He hated the character. And I think there was a point in his life that he did. He wrote a lot of other books that weren't Sherlock Holmes books, and he had trouble getting them produced or read. And when you would see the name Arthur Conan Doyle, you'd figure, oh, this is another Sherlock story, and then it wouldn't be, and people would be upset. And he wrote a lot of serious pieces that probably didn't get the respect they deserve, although I've never read any of them, so maybe they're crap. I don't know. I have a confession to make to the Conshohocken Library, and I think I have to go and face the music. I like being a good boy for the library. You know, I take a lot of stuff out, but I totally lost an audiobook, and I just wanted an excuse also to talk about this audiobook. It was called Magpie Murders, and it was a book on CD. It's probably fine as a novel, too. It works as a book on CD, and it actually has that theme of an author hating his main character, and it's a really interesting, I could only describe it as meta. It's a popular word now. It's a meta book, where it's this author's last work for his great character. His great character is Atticus Punt, and there aren't any other Atticus Punt books, but the way the book sets it up is that this is the last of, I think, 7 or 9 stories. And he hates the character. He wants to write serious literature, but he's stuck writing these detective novels that he thinks are are trite and garbage. And he's murdered. The author's murdered. And so, but what they do, what's really cool about the book, I believe the book is written by Horowitz. The book is written by Anthony Horowitz, who is a big fan of the genre. He writes a lot of interesting stuff. He actually got permission to write original Sherlock Holmes stories. He's gotten permission to write original James Bond stories. He just seems to like those short stories and those great characters. I read a little bit about him, and he's an interesting fellow. But this book is a few things at once. It's definitely a love letter to murder mysteries. He fits a whole murder mystery in the book. Like, he does this Atticus Punt, like his last novel, sort of how Sherlock Holmes has a few last novels where Sherlock Holmes dies and all that. He fits this whole novel in the book. Like, it's a fictitious novel written in the book, but it has a beginning, middle, and end, and he even has, and it's so funny, he has like the forwards in it, and the praise for the last Atticus Punt novel. So it's a really clever book, because then there's a second murder mystery, I guess, in real life, are surrounding this book and its last chapter and all that. Yeah, I'm real excited about the Sherlock Holmes series I'm gonna do. I've been reading a lot of murder mysteries. I think at one point I thought they were dumb, and I don't know, I guess beneath me, because, you know, I believe this podcast is called Really Smart Guy with a Library. Oh, no, wait, it's called Idiot with a Library. They're totally not beneath me. I love murder mysteries. They're a lot of fun, and I'm excited to delve into Sherlock Holmes. I haven't read much Sherlock Holmes. I've consumed other media for Sherlock Holmes, and again, that Sherlock show from the BBC is one of my favorite things on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I would suggest checking it out. Picking up a Sherlock Holmes book, and the nice thing about Sherlock Holmes is it's old enough now where most of it's free, and you can get all sorts of dramatic readings of his more famous books. You could probably go to archives.org or LibriVox and get... I know you can go to archives.org or LibriVox and get a lot of the free audiobooks. I'm sure all the adventures are on Audible and probably read by really talented actors. So there's so many ways to consume this Sherlock Holmes media. I'm pretty excited to dive into it. I'm going to read the books and check out some adaptations of these books. This is just kicking off. This is going to be a short little show. I haven't put anything out. I will say the last note, this is more of a clerical show. The last note is that I'm sorry about Team of Rivals. I did the first part, and I was reading through the second, and I just didn't have much to say about it. It's a great book. You should read it. I read it, and just I had nothing really to add. I went online and saw a lot of different analysts go over it, and they did a way better job than me, and I had trouble having fun with the book. So it's a really good book, and you should check it out. Magpie Murders is an awesome book. You should totally check that out. And any sort of Sherlock Holmes. So just a few recommendations, and be on the lookout for a few new shows about Sherlock Holmes and Arthur Conan Doyle's work. Well, thanks for listening, and please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and like the show, and leave reviews, leave comments. You can email me at idiotwithalibrarycard@gmail.com with any show suggestions or any other suggestions. Tell me what I'm doing good, tell me what I'm not. And I hope you come and join me next time when I review The Study in Scarlet.